everybody, welcome to the first episode of Dom Talks Movies. I'm your host Dom, also known as Turbo Shark, also known as Nitro Bear, also known as Spaghetti Murphy, also known as White Lasagna. Let's talk some movies. I can't remember where my love for movies started, but I guess you could just say it started at birth because we were always watching movies. We were just a movie family, and whatever my dad would watch, my brothers and I would also watch. So because of that, I have a strong affinity for things like
Rocky, Goodfellas, Casino, and The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
So obviously before Netflix and streaming and torrents and all that fun stuff, we had HBO. My dad would just make mixtapes, basically, VHS tapes that had 3 movies on it that he would record right off of HBO. So it'd be like, you grab a tape from the library and it's Return of the Living Dead, Look Who's Talking, and The Running Man. So my dad has definitely influenced my taste in movies, but I also like a lot of movies that he probably thinks are crap. But either way, my favorite movies are
Goodfellas, Big Trouble in Little China, RoboCop, Drive, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Brazil, Raging Bull, The Cook, The Thief, His Wife and Her Lover, Forrest Gump, Training Day, Blue Valentine.
You know, just to name a few. Even though I watched most of my movies and had most of my movie experiences at home or just in front of a television, I did have very vivid, cool memories of going to the theater as a kid. And you see this stuff that is just like mind-blowing at the time, and it just gives you such a feeling of euphoria, and it sticks with you as long as you let it, I guess. You can rewatch that stuff and you can see it again, and it's probably not gonna shock you or like drive you as much as it did before, but you still have that memory of seeing it for the first time. My dad also had a home video camera when we were growing up, so he filmed a lot of home videos, and this thing was just big and massive, and you had to carry around the VCR with it and attached so it would record straight onto the tape. To film anything outside, I'm sure, was a minor miracle. But when I was 13, I used that same camera. I fished this long 500-foot extension cord down from my friend's house to the forest down near the river, and we made our movie together, the Blair Itch Project. And then throughout high school and into my 20s, I made a lot of skits, I made a lot of feature films sometimes, made some short films, and I would even convince teachers in high school to let me make a movie for a project instead of writing a paper, and they agreed. And those are actually probably some of the best things I ever filmed. I've always loved filmmaking, and I've always enjoyed just creating and performing. For this show, I just want to talk about movies because it's like, honestly, probably just my favorite thing is movies. I'll just say that. My favorite thing is movies. So we have an episode where we talk about censorship in film.
I have had it with these monkey-fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane.
The rating system, which I personally think is bullshit. Actors that almost played famous roles. I think we should talk about the fact that John Travolta almost played Forrest Gump. And on top of that, there was a rumor a few years ago that John Travolta was going to star in a remake of The Toxic Avenger. Maybe we should just have an episode devoted to John Travolta, I don't know.
Don't make me laugh.
I also want to do an episode where I list my favorite movie from the year I was born up until today, 1986 to 1987 up to 2018. And 1994 is going to be really hard because Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, and The Shawshank Redemption all came out that year. And Dumb and Dumber. I think it's interesting to think about the future of movies because obviously things are changing, and there's like a war going on right now between streaming services and the theater industry. I think we should also talk about bad movies because those are arguably my favorite movies. So bad they're good, Sharknado type of stuff, yeah, those are movies. I guess I should say why I love movies. I've always felt that sitting down and watching a film is an escape, and there's such a magic to it, and you forget about your problems, you forget about what's going on in your real life, and you just escape, and you surrender to this world that is perfect sometimes, sometimes less than perfect, but just different. Some of my best memories are when we would watch movies as a family together, because when you got together as a family to sit down on the couch and watch a movie, you were silent, you were focused, and you laughed, sometimes cried, you're just thrilled all together sharing this experience. That's why I just feel like nostalgia and movies for me just go so hand in hand. On top of that, I want to know what you guys want to hear about. If you are a movie fan and you want to hear something, just comment and tell me and we'll talk about it. Episode 1, in the bag. So thank you for watching the first episode of Dom Talks Movies. We did it! We talked movies and we had fun doing it.